Welcome to Chris Parkin Shooting Sports. I get a lot of questions about scope mounts, and people are always asking what are the scope mounts you're using. Well, one of the most common scope mounts for me to use is the Warne scope mounting system. Now, I say system, Warne have quite a lot of different types of scope mount, and that's Warne spelled W-A-R-N-E. They originate from Australia in the 1950s, and they have brought with them certain technologies which we now take for granted, but they were the originators of, and things we typically associate with the brand now, even though they do actually make quite a lot of ring types that we don't necessarily always recognise or think of. So one of the most common types I use is the split ring type, and of course the split ring is one of their innovations. These are all sintered steel rings, and they've got a stainless steel slot underneath which locks in with a Picatinny or Weaver rail on the action. Now, because these split in half, they just open out like that. I'll show you one here. That's one of the split rings there. And because once it's locked on the rail, it makes it very easy to set up the vertical position of the scope to make sure the reticle's straight, because all you have to do is loosen the top two screws, adjust it perfectly, and then nip them both. And you don't have to do quite so much sort of bouncing backwards and forwards, corner to corner, like you do with top scope rings. Now, as well as this size, which is 30mm, they do low, medium, high, extra high, and as well as a 30mm split ring like that, which has got the two screws to lock it actually onto the Picatinny or Weaver scope rail, you can also have a quick release design. Now, the quick release design has more screws to lock the two sides of the ring together, but once they're locked together, just ignoring the top two screws for a second, you've got a quick release lever on the side here which allows you to take the scope as a complete unit on or off the rifle. Once you've set it up and locked the two screws in place, nothing's going to change, so you can just remove these and put them back as and when you need, if you want to say swap from a day scope to a night vision or thermal imaging scope. Once the ring is actually fully locked on the scope base or rail, again, all you need to do to set perfect reticle position is to just loosen the top two screws, and you can turn the scope exactly as you want it, make sure the reticle's vertical, and then nip those up. And once you've got that done, you don't have to worry about them anymore. Those levers at the bottom don't affect that, and the scope will stay tight within the ring, so you don't have any problem moving it. As well as the black rings you can see here, they're also commonly available in silver, but there are also special anodised colours for the MSR mount as well. Other mounting options are available with additional Picatinny mounts, so it's well worth looking at the Warne website and you'll see exactly what's available from the entire range to suit your rifle needs. Well, we've spoken about the split rings, Weaver or Picatinny system, and obviously those are separate rings. Now, this has got the much narrower dovetail clamp for an airgun or a rimfire, and these have got separate tops on these rings, so rather than being vertically split, the top goes over and it nips up either side. Again, it's the same manufacturing standard with sintered steel rings, so you get absolute long-term durability from them. The rings all use T15 Torx fasteners, and a wrench is supplied with them. Warne make rings in 1-inch, 30mm, 34mm, 35 and even 36mm to suit different rifles, and as well as common fittings for sort of airgun, rimfire, dovetails or Weaver Picatinny, they make special rings for Tikka, Ruger and CZ as well. As well as standard paired rings, they also make the MSR extended mount, which actually reaches the scope forward, and that's ideal for an AR-15 or a rifle with a very short scope rail where you do need to push the scope forward to get correct eye relief here. Warne rings also make a PA top split ring, which means basically you've got the clamp at the bottom as usual, similar to this dovetail ring here, and it's got a separate ring top that fastens the scope down on top, rather than the split side to side rings that Warne are so commonly known for. I haven't actually used any of those yet, but if the manufacturing standards are anything similar to the rest of the Warne range, I've got no concerns at all over both their longevity and the fact they won't mark scope tubes when they're fitted on, because they're machined precisely to shape and you get truly linear alignment, so it isn't giving you any dimples or creases in the scope tube, which is going to massively affect functionality and of course the long-term value of the optic, quite probably voiding its warranty. Well, thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment and click the notification bell. This was just a little brief review today of some of the different rings I use, but you know, there's lots of reviews on my channel of all sorts of rifles, optics, thermal, night vision and other accessories. If you go all the way to the end of the video, there's a link you can click on to buy tickets to the 2023 British Shooting Show, which also includes car parking for the days you're visiting. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.